Welcome to the Empowered Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kari Schneider, and I am so excited to bring you this topic today is how to repair rapport. We want to stop the relationship wreckage. Why? So you can be more productive, more connected, more optimized in all of the areas of your life. So today we're going to go through 3 main things so you really can get the rapport, the connection, the things you really want with the people in your lives. All right, top 10 rapport ruiners. We're going to do that. We want to avoid these at all costs. We're going to go through the 3 crucial steps you need to effectively repair rapport. And then really this last part is the secret sauce that really makes all this repair or all the rapport efforts genuinely effective and lasting. That's what we're going to do today. So let's get started with a key thing. And really, that's all about defining what rapport is. What is rapport when you are in a work environment, when you're in a home environment, when you are meeting someone new? Rapport ends up being there or not. So what is that thing? Here's rapport. Rapport is this close, harmonious relationship where people understand each other's feelings, ideas, and they can communicate really clearly back and forth. There's not those rifts or those disruptions in feeling connected with another person. So we want rapport. This really matters. You might feel like, well, I can just text them. Or in this day and age, we know each other for so many years so well. And we can read each other's minds. It's no big deal to really keep that rapport going. But the truth is, and you know it because you felt it, the truth is rapport can be lost in an instant. We're talking an eye glance. We're talking someone turns their body away or they interrupt you. It can be lost in an instant. For those listening, I'm snapping my fingers to make the point. So here's what rapport does. When you do have rapport, it builds trust, it enhances influence, and it's foundational for achieving personal and professional goals. So those things are critical. It also directly impacts your business success, your leadership effectiveness, and the quality of life relationships, whether they are personal or professional. So really let that sink in. It's building trust. It's enhancing influence. It's allowing you to achieve the things you want. It's really helping your leadership be effective. This is important. So let's do this. I'm going to go through the top 10 rapport ruiners. Ooh, yuck. Here we go. You ready for this one? You're going to go ding, ding. And if you're not going ding, you're going to recognize it either in someone else or yourself, maybe from the past. You're going to recognize it somewhere. So just take a quick listen here. The first one, and this one is the big one. This one is the Mac Daddy, the king of all the rapport ruiners. It's lack of authenticity. That's right. You're just kind of being a little fake. You're doing some of the things that someone else goes, something feels off there because you're not being authentic or someone you're speaking to isn't being authentic. Number 2, over talking and not listening. That one is, it seems like it's benign. It seems like it's not a big deal, but it really sends a message to the other person that they don't get to speak and what is going on for them or what they think may not matter. It's sending a message, a subtle message. So over talking, not listening, that's number 2. Number 3 is lack of empathy. When we are not kind of showing that we care about their experience, their feeling, their situation. Number 4, interrupting or finishing other people's sentences. Now, this one's funny to me because I think of when Paul and I first got together and we were finishing each other's sentences. We were reading each other's minds. Like we were so in sync. And it was just this cute, wonderful thing when the other person finished the other person's sentence. Well, you flash forward 16 years plus later, and it's not as cute when someone's finishing your sentence. You want to be heard, and that's the rule, not the exception, is people want to be heard. And here's the thing. I know for me, I'm a fast processor. So I'm processing someone's words, the situation very quickly. And I can become impatient when I know what they're about to say. But oftentimes, when they're saying it for the first time, then it takes a little moment for it to get from the brain to the mouth and come out of the mouth. And not having patience in that moment for someone to articulate something that they may be articulating for the first time ever is such a slap in the face to them. I know I'm being dramatic with the description here, but it's hard for someone to take something that might feel challenging or vulnerable, or they've never articulated to anyone else in the world before, or they're processing it for the first time. It's hard to get that out. Allowing them the space and the grace to do so is a gift. It's a gift. It really offers patience. It offers support just by being quiet while they get it out of their mouths. It is a beautiful thing. And that is managing ourselves to be able to provide that space, provide that quiet, let them say what they need to say at the pace that they want to say it. We don't need to rush it by finishing their sentence. The only time I would say that it enhances rapport or holds rapport is when they might be struggling and they are literally looking and asking for you to complete that word. They can't think of the word, or they're trying to finish the thought and it's not quite there. So only when they're nodding you on to help them out is it appropriate to finish someone else's sentence or to interrupt them. Now, I know also I'm in coaching environments. Sometimes I'm intentionally interrupting. I want to break the rapport. I want to interrupt a pattern so that they can see the pattern. And that's a different scenario. But when we are typically 99.9% of the time, we're not coaching someone else. We're being with someone else. We are allowing ourselves to be together with another human. So that's where interrupting and finishing sentence comes in. So that's number 4. Number 5 is talking too much about yourself. Yada, yada, yada. We do want to be vulnerable. We do want to share about ourselves, but not where it dominates the conversation or it overruns someone else's potential or ability to talk about themselves. We want to have this back and forth airtime and airing on graciousness, allowing them to speak more on their behalf. So it just let it ebb and flow versus I know that if I've vented to a family member or a friend, I feel guilty. I don't like the feeling of not hearing what's going on for their lives and what's going on for them. I feel like it does it doesn't allow for them. I feel much more comfortable hearing about them. That is number 5. Number 6 is negative or judgmental comments. When we get into our judgy selves, it breaks the rapport. When we're in a critical space and we all have felt getting some sort of feedback, and it might be constructive criticism. It might be something really great that we need to hear, but that's very, very different than something negative, a judgy comment. Those things are definite rapport ruiners. Next one, I think this is number 7 or number 6. No, 7. Not poor nonverbal communication. This is the looking away, looking at your phone, body language is turned somewhere else, raising the eyebrows in a suspicious way, eye rolling. There are so many things we do with our nonverbal communication that can simply say, I'm not interested. I remember one day my husband and I were talking, he leaned back and crossed his arms, and I thought, okay, he doesn't want to talk about this. It was a very clear message to me. And in order to repair the rapport in the moment, I said, I'm getting the sense that you don't want to talk about this. I was called it out in the moment in a compassionate way, if you will. So those nonverbal communications, those can be rapport ruiners as well. Next one is being overly agreeable or insincere. Now, notice this one. This one is important to note. Yes, you might say, well, we already said lack of authenticity. Yes, that's true. But sometimes people feel that when they're being really agreeable, that that's a good thing. And they're not realizing that that's a lack of authenticity. It's insincere. So this agreeability feels like it should be great for the situation, but someone else typically clues in that, oh, they just keep yesing me. They just keep agreeing with me, but I'm not hearing any of their real thoughts or real feedback. And that makes me feel like I don't trust them. It's an interesting dynamic that way. So being overly agreeable, that can come across as insincere, or if you say something that's insincere. And the next one is oversharing too soon. Now, I'm going to put this one together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so I think this one goes with the next one. And it's oversharing too soon. It's this. What oversharing too soon is it's rushing the relationship. It's rushing trust. And trust is something that we have what's called a trust ladder. Trust is progressive. There's the comment that trust is lost in buckets and back in drops. And I really feel that that's a great description of how trust works, because we don't have automatic trust. The rare occasions that we develop automatic trust is some unusual, big circumstantial event that causes people to go through something really hard together, and they help each other in a way that then they suddenly find they trust each other. That is unusual. Where trust is built the majority of the time is by small action, small action, small action, small action, small action. That is building of trust. When we overshare and we are saying too much about ourselves too soon, then what we're doing is we're pushing this relationship as though we already have depth, as though we already have a history, as though we already have a lot of trust. So oversharing too soon is a rapport ruiner. The other rapport ruiner that its antithesis is not sharing anything at all, not sharing anything personal about yourself in any way. Then it really creates a wall, and it can also ruin rapport. So when it comes to sharing, there's a happy place, and it's, TMI, too much information. That's the oversharing scenario. Whereas if you share nothing, that's too little. There is a sweet spot of sharing where it really develops the connection with another person. And that's what you want to figure out, because it's different with different people. Is different based on the context, the environment, the relationship, the duration of the relationship. So those things are all to be considered. That brings us, with all those rapport ruiners, it brings us to the next step of the top 3 rapport repairers. Now, we really want these rapport repairers, and I'm not giving you, there are more rapport repairers than the top 3. However, I want to give you the main ones that you can remember, because if you look at those rapport ruiners, there's a lot of them, and there's more than that, but those top 10 are the main ones. And the reason that I'm pointing those out is because, like it or not, you have done, we have done, I have done every one of those rapport ruiners, from oversharing, from being insincere, from using your body language in a way that does not connect with them. We've all done those rapport ruiners. Don't think that it's just other people ruining rapport. We are as well. And when we can identify them, then we can work to build and repair them. And that's why there's only 3 main rapport repairers because they work. They're all you really, really need. Even though there's lots of other things you can do, these 3 are the ones to have in your back pocket at all times. And then the 4th thing I'm going to give you is the thing that's going to encompass using it throughout all rapport because it really, really makes the difference. So here's the first rapport repairer. And this one, as soon as you hear it, you're going to be like, yeah, that feels better when that happens. Interesting. So the first one is acknowledging the breakdown. When we acknowledge the breakdown, it shows that we care, it shows accountability, and it shows maturity. Amazing. Just by acknowledging that something went wrong there. Now, when we go and we acknowledge that there was a breakdown, we want to do it in a way that is clear, calm. We're not screaming at somebody, this didn't work at all. That's not going to help anybody. We want the calm. We want the clear. And if there's been any sort of escalation in emotional tension, then we want to be slow. Calm, clear, slow if we need to when something goes wrong. We want to avoid any sort of blame. We're not pointing a finger. We're not being guilty and taking it all on. We just want to start with an acknowledgement of breakdown. It might sound something like this. I realize our last conversation might have come across as dismissive. I really want to address it because our relationship matters to me so much. Right there. Something was off, and I promise you that if something is off, you're going to feel that something's off. It's going to be a feeling usually before you recognize it intellectually. Now, not every time, but listen to the feelings that you have. They will be very important for you to be able to identify if there's some sort of ruining or rift in the rapport. Lots of R's today. I love it. Rapport repair, rapport ruiners, rapport rifts. All right, number 2, we've acknowledged the breakdown. This is in sequence. Then we offer a genuine, keyword, genuine apology. Genuine apologies diffuse tension. They rebuild the trust. They build back the emotional bond that might have been rifted or ruined with whatever happened. So what we want to do when we're apologizing, and go back in our previous episodes, we'll put the link in the show notes on how to apologize. There is an episode on how to apologize, all the steps, but just make sure that you're specific, you're expressing your regret, you're doing so sincerely. These are key steps, key points and traits in a genuine apology. You want to avoid any sort of justifications, defensiveness, excuses, minimizing the issue. Those things will not help your apology. You want to just acknowledge and sincerely express your regrets. An example of this to start an apology, and again, go back to the episode on step-by-step how to apologize. I'm truly sorry for interrupting earlier. It wasn't my intention. I can see how that impacted you, and I don't want to interrupt you. That can be an example of sincerity. Now, there is a key step here that if you are not sure about what you are apologizing for, do not pass go. Do not start an apology. I promise you it will make things worse. That is why it is genuine. That's why I said the key word is genuine apology. It has to be real. It has to be sincere. A real, sincere, genuine apology. So here's the thing. You might feel that there's a rift. Something happened in the rapport based on someone else's actions. Maybe they have become a little bit distant. They're a little apprehensive around you, and you know something's off, but you, for the life of you, cannot put your finger on what's gone on. Okay? You're in that situation. So this is the little thing that's there with step 2. So important is this one question. Do I owe you an apology? Now, back up a few episodes in this podcast, whole episode on do I owe you an apology? A really, really important skill that you can utilize. Do I owe you an apology? Where this is critical in this step is that if you don't know what you're apologizing for, then it's probably insincere. If you don't know what you're apologizing for and you start to apologize for something that's not the real problem to the other person, it's going to get worse. I promise you that rift is going to become a huge gully, ditch, cavern, whatever you want to call it. It's a big gap that you're going to then have to do more rebuilding to repair. So, in that moment, for the genuine apology, if you are not crystal clear on what you are apologizing for, but you know something's off, then you're going to start with, do I owe you an apology? Now that gives the other person an opportunity to express and be heard and clarify what didn't work for them. Your job in that moment is just to listen. And if you can't offer an apology in that moment, you are going to have to ask for some grace, ask for some time. I didn't realize that was so hard on you, so bothersome. I need some time to process this. I do want to repair this. I do want to sort this out. And I think I have something to apologize for clearly. I just want to make sure that I'm really real on this apology. Can you give me a few minutes, or can you give me until later this evening and we can have the time that this deserves? That would be an example. That would be an example of using your being caring and loving towards yourself and the other person, giving yourself what you need when someone might tell you something you didn't realize had gone wrong. You didn't realize that you need to apologize for, and you really want to make a genuine effort. That's how you can have your own back while communicating lovingly or professionally to the other person, okay? So do I owe you an apology will help you and help them if you can't identify what went wrong and what you might need to apologize for. All right, so that's step 2. Step 3, we got this, we're doing it. Step 3, everybody loves clarity. Everybody loves clear intentions. So what you want to do is clarify your intentions. Now, hold the fort here, because this is a slippery slope. If you have not managed yourself, if you have not managed your own emotions, if you have not processed your own emotions, then this could really come across very quickly as defensiveness, justification, excuses. No, we don't want that. We want to simply and clearly explain the intentions behind the action or comment, but not justifying or excusing the behavior. That is a critical part. What this does when we can clearly identify our intentions, it can clear up the misunderstandings. It can clear up the miscommunications. It can allow a better platform to move forward on in the future. All right, so you got that one? We're clarifying our intentions. Now, here's an example of this. What I really meant to convey was the urgency, but I see how it could have come across as me being pushy. I was interrupting you, and I really didn't mean that. I was really feeling urgent in the moment, and that's what it was more about. All right, you see that? I clarified that I felt this urgency, and I realized that the way it came out was interrupting, and that's not what I wanted. I was really just trying to express urgency, and it came out as being interrupting, rude, ruining the relationship connection. All right, another example of I wasn't trying to be dismissive. My goal was to let you know that was a miscommunication. So maybe someone got cut off. I wasn't trying to be dismissive. I was trying to correct the situation. And I'm not interested in acting that way. So by clarifying your intentions, it can reduce the misunderstanding, because one person might be making it mean that you don't care, while your real intentions were was time, speed, or something like that. And the truth is you do care. So you want to clarify that I do really care about what you have to say. I didn't mean to dismiss you or interrupt you. So that's the clarifying the intentions as step 3. So remember, we're going to recap here. Step 1 was acknowledge the breakdown. Step 2 is a genuine apology if you know exactly what went wrong. If you don't, you're going to precede that genuine apology with a question of, do I owe you an apology? I feel like something's off. And then if you need time before creating that apology, then by all means, give yourself the time. Step 3 is clarifying the intentions without any justification or excuses, but really helping the other person understand that where you were coming from in the moment and why it was off base and what you weren't intending to do. Now, there's a 4th part to this that I cannot overlook because it gets inserted in every one of the steps. It is critical for rapport overall, and it is basically the secret sauce that builds the glue around all of the relationship rapport. It's the thing that makes a huge, huge difference. And here's what it is. It's empathy. And specifically, it's empathy through the form of validating someone else's feelings, letting them be okay with being upset, being feeling misunderstood. However their experience is of it, is their experience of it. When you can offer some empathy about that, when you can validate what their experience or their feelings were, that is really, really critical for them feeling that you understand them. They feel seen. They feel understood. They feel like their perspective is valid. That's what the empathy with this, that's what empathy is. It's really validating their feelings. It's feeling that you can feel what they feel. It's that. If you lack empathy, then take a step back. If you're not feeling like you can feel anything that they feel, then don't engage because it's probably going to get worse. So take a step back, not in avoidance, but to check on why you don't have empathy in this situation. Are you feeling hurt? Do you need to ask for an apology? So usually if there's a lack of empathy there on your part, then there's probably something that needs to be either processed, so your own emotional thing that needs processing, or perhaps there's some rapport repairing that you need to ask for. I actually need an apology from you because blank, blank, and blank. So, but be very careful because despite what your needs are, I promise you, when you care about the relationship, when you care about someone else, that's a higher level. And when you can get that level of perspective, empathy can be there no matter what you're experiencing. No matter if you feel hurt in the situation, no matter if they did something that they need to apologize for, you can still feel empathy because you're going to a higher level of understanding the importance of the common relationship of them and how much you care for them. Or maybe it's a work environment where you can go higher and understand, okay, there's a bigger picture process or project or thing that we're all a part of and we're all in this together. And all of those stepping back, that perspective taking can really allow for greater empathy. So what this does is it acknowledges the other person's feelings without trying to change their feelings, without trying to fix anything immediately, just acknowledging it. It's part of acknowledging the breakdown. You're doing that with empathy. Same thing as the apology, you're bringing empathy. Same things with clarifying the intentions, you're bringing empathy to the table. So I can see why that would upset you. That would be a phrase that is empathetic and it acknowledges and validates their feelings. They are upset. You understand that they are upset. You can see why they're upset. I completely understand where you're coming from. Another phrase that's very empathetic and puts yourself in their shoes, okay? I hear you. I see you. I see how that might have felt unfair. Those are other examples of empathetic statements that can really help. Why this works is because it's showing them that you care about them. It's showing them that you care about their experience. It validates their perspective, that they can have a perspective too. It doesn't need to be the same as yours. It's okay to be different, and you can accept that things are different. You can accept the differences and still have rapport. This is news for a lot of people right now, that people can have differences of opinion, differences of feelings, differences of circumstances, and still accept and embrace those differences and the other person. So this empathy is huge as the glue that holds the rapport, that holds the relationships, and really helps you through those main 3 rapport repairers. Remember, have these in your back pocket. Acknowledge the breakdown, genuine apology. If you're not sure what you need to apologize for, ask, do I need to apologize? And number 3, clarify your intentions and take the empathy with every one of those steps. I promise you, you will be on your path to repairing any rifts in any of the relationships that you have. On to greater, stronger interactions, relationships, and everything that comes from amazing relationships. More productivity in business, greater depth in your family, greater depth in your relationships. It is a wonderful thing. All right, I hope this gives you more tools, because practicing this is a skill. Once you get these steps, it's a skill that you'll always have. It will always serve you in everything that you're doing. It will serve your leadership. It will serve your own personal self-mastery. It will serve the depth and the quality of your relationships, and thereby serve the quality of your life. Go for it. Use this to empower yourself to live the life that you want. If you think this is helpful, share it with someone you think will love this kind of skill. Go for it. Have a great rest of your day and a wonderful week.